Hello, Sonia, Coach Sonia here. Hope y'all are doing well. I wanted to make this video, actually Louise and I wanted to make this video on food planning or meal planning. And so a lot of times, I know I've focused on food prep, which is also incredibly important. The area that I've probably struggled most with is the planning piece. The two times that I have actually planned my meals ahead for anywhere from 1 to 3 weeks, I've been incredibly successful and on point. There's a lot less wiggle room and creativity in terms of what I'm snacking on. Because when I plan effectively, I incorporate recipes that appeal to me. I incorporate fallback foods that I know I like, and I usually have a snack or dessert in there. And I kind of know what things look like, and so there it is, ready for me. Whereas if I just prep a bunch of food of things I know I really like and have a general idea, a lot of times I'll get in that place where I'm kind of picking and choosing, and then I have a few too many carbs or a few too many fruits. And there's just no rhyme or reason to it. And for me, without the structure of a plan, I tend to get creative, if you will. So couple things to remember. So it's Tuesday. We're in prep week of the March into Spring Fitness Challenge group. And so I posted a few things into that group so far, resources that some of you may already have and some of you may not. And those that do not should already have access to the group so that you can actually go get them. And I'll show you some of those resources today. And so you can go in there as you can and look at those and print off what you need. And being that it's Tuesday, this is a good time to start thinking about, okay, what is my meal plan going to look like, either just for the first week or even for, let's say, the entire 4-week challenge, if you have time. I was able to get 2 weeks in this time, and that took a couple of hours. But over time, that gets faster. And so that way I have my plan in place, and then I can kind of figure out my timing as far as when I need to go shopping, when I need to prep the food. And so let's see, also remember that you get to go at your own rhythm, okay? So I'm going to give you an idea of what the resources are, and I'm going to show you what I did this last time for this next 2 weeks of prep. Of planning. And so, of course, you'll get to try different things, and over time you will find something that works well for you. And let's see. Also, we will talk a little bit more in this video and at the end about prizes. So in order to get everyone engaged, we're going to ask you to participate in a little competition, a little friendly competition. And so what we would do is, what you can do is you can post one of your recipes weekly, and then show the finished product with a picture, and then you would get one of the prize options. So there'll be more information on that to come. And of course, the prize options are going to be related to either a cookbook or some sort of cookware. So it should be a lot of fun. Okay, so I kind of already talked about why planning is important, because when I don't do it, it's easy for me to get creative and get off track. There's some different resources to get started. Now, most of you should have already gotten your starter kit with your Shakeology and your DVDs, unless you had all access. And you would have got something like this that says Start Here. There was also a bigger guide as well that is similar to this book, but this book comes when you sign up to be a coach. If you sign up to be a coach, you would get this. It has a few different recipes in it too, but it has some of the similar sheets you would need, and it has all the food ingredient lists, so I'll show you that in a minute. But if you start here with this document, it shows you your basic workouts for the 21-day fix. But if you didn't have 21-day fix, you probably didn't get this. You might have gotten something similar. If not, well, I'm sure you did. If you didn't, let me know, and I'll make sure you get this information. But you should have got something with your containers that's going to show you and help you find out what plan you're in. So you just ask a couple questions, and then you determine which group you're in as far as how many of each of these containers that you get to eat, right? And so that's the first step, is to find out how many containers that you get to fall within whatever your category is. So done with that. And so that's a good place. And then there's a few other resources, and I'll go into this book here a little bit in a little bit more detail in the next section. But this has some of the same information, and it also has your what counts ingredient-wise into each container category. So I'll set that aside. Some of the other things that you could use for planning. There is a weekly document, and this is what I use, this is what I like to use. And so these are in the tracker, and you can print them out. And if you need them another way, like through email, I can send them to you as well. You should be able to get them right from there, though. And so this is a full week, and I just put my container numbers at the top, and I put my meals on the side. I'll show you that a little bit later, actually. So you can do weekly planning, or there's even actually a daily meal planner. So you could use 7 of these and plan out that way. And there is also graph paper. I was sick a couple of months ago or a month ago, and I did 3 to 4 weeks. I settled on 3 weeks of planning using a piece of graph paper just across the top, Monday through Sunday. And these little blocks were each meal. So breakfast, snack, lunch, snack, so forth. So this I found very helpful. You could also use Excel. A lot of people like to use Excel, where they put their information right into their spreadsheet, which then makes it simpler as well to kind of reuse those weekly plans, which is something I was going to mention later, but there's a lot of ways that we can save time and make this easier. And one of them is to save our weekly plans and reuse them over time. Okay, so the first thing, and this is what I did last week. I've already done this. The first time I did the 21-day fixed meal plan, what I did is I went through each of these lists on my containers. And I try to stay towards the top because I want food that's more nutritious, right? So even though the food at the bottom is acceptable for clean eating, I want more bang for my buck, and I find that over time that's more effective in my overall health and fitness program. So I went through and I found the yellows that I really liked. I found the blues that I really liked, and I made a list of all those different ingredients. And the first week, all I did was basically buy those things and prep them all out very simply. So I don't think I did plantains. I did sweet potatoes and just roasted a bunch of sweet potatoes. And then I baked some chicken, and then I cooked some moose meat, ground moose meat. And I just did a bunch of food prep of the things that I knew would fit. And then that first week, I actually planned what I was going to eat when, but the next 2 weeks, I didn't plan. Didn't do as good as the first week, but it still was effective. And so at least I had that food prepared, and so then I could fit it into my 21-day tracker and keep track of what I was eating. And it was all stuff that I liked. So that is the first step, I think, in the way I do it, is to figure out what my go-tos are. What is the food that I know I like to have on hand, and I could always eat them. And so having a list, starting with those things. So this is what I did this week. I made a list of my go-tos, and then I also went and I picked 1 or 2 new recipes. And so it's good to have probably 2 or 3 recipes as far as lunch and dinner goes. Sorry. As far as lunch and dinner goes, having a few recipes for a week. And I don't recommend 1 or 2 new recipes because I did that before. I think I tried to do 2 or 3 new recipes, and I was in the kitchen all day Sunday. It was a lot because you got to learn, and then there's all that extra time in prep. So there's a few places where you can get recipes. I also have learned that I like to have a clean eating dessert recipe on hand. And a lot of times I'll incorporate Shakeology into that recipe as well. There's a lot of options out there. There's a Fixate cookbook, which is one of the places I go. I actually won this in my first challenge group, and we will be having at least one of these as your prize options for this next challenge for posting your recipes. There's the Shakeology sheet with different types of Shakeology that you can make. There is even the 3-day refresh guide has different recipes. Of course, Portion Fix, or the one that you got in your intro kit, also has recipes in the back as well. There is our Fixate cooking channel. So if you have Beachbody On Demand, which I highly recommend, today is actually the last day to get the all access option if you don't already have it. But I go to Fixate. I don't know if you can see that. Oops, there's Autumn and her brother. And I click on Fixate, and then you can actually watch live the different recipes being made, but you can also go up here in the right-hand corner to program materials and recipes. This is also where you can get your grocery list as well. Fixate shopping list. And so then you can go through a series of recipes in here. And this is how I found a few, and they actually have the entire recipe in there, and it's really easy to print off this PDF. And so what I've done is I've gone through and I've printed a few that are my go-tos as far as recipes go. And those I can put in a binder and save those for whenever I want to incorporate them, and then I have them on hand. Okay. Oh, another place, if you don't have any of these items, Pinterest is an awesome resource for finding 21-day fix recipes. All you have to do is put in 21-day fix meal planning, or 21-day fix and ricotta, because I really love that ricotta is a protein. I love cheese, and it's still a protein. That makes me happy. I don't have to use a healthy fat for that, or a carb. And so I went and looked up 21-day fix ricotta and found a few recipes. Yeah. So there's several places that you can go. And we're going to try to put recipes out throughout this next challenge that you can use also. Okay, there we go. Okay, so then I went ahead, and in addition to the go-tos this time around, I also added to my list the recipes that I was interested in doing over the next few weeks. Just stuff that I've seen. I did, a quick glance, stuff I want to try. I want to do the cheesy cauliflower sticks with, breadsticks, I guess, with marinara, Fixate marinara. Yum. And so, yeah. So I did that. And then I actually went through and I made a list of, I took the things that I was going to make and I put the container equivalents next to them. And this is what I did this time. And you don't have to do it this way. You can certainly do it any other way. But in the past, what I've found is having that handy, the containers made it a lot easier to fill out my weekly sheet here. And so I would just go and put, my main recipes first, and of course my Shakeology. But I will build my Shakeology and my breakfasts and my snacks around my other recipes, because once I got those containers, I see what containers I have left, and then I know whether or not I can put kale in my Shakeology. On the day that I make zucchini lasagna, right, that's 2 veggies. So I may not, there's probably another veggie in there somewhere, so I'm probably not going to put kale in my smoothie that day or in my shake that day. So this made it really clean and easy for me to figure out. And I did 2 weeks like this. Okay, and then we've already talked about saving the weekly plans. And through these weeks, I hardly even have to track. If I'm eating right off this, then I don't even have to be tracking my food as I go using the 21-day fix tracker, unless I somehow get off track. One thing I did incorporate this time as well was eating out, because on Thursdays I go into Anchorage and I actually like to eat at the Organic Oasis, because the place I go on Thursday nights is right next to the Organic Oasis. That's one of my favorite places. And it's clean eating. I know that. I used to work there. And so I do that. I want to do the high protein, vegan high protein wrap. Anyway, and there's other stuff there, but what I've decided is that could be my splurge, right? If I want to go out to eat with a significant other or with a friend, if I want to do that once a week, I think that's reasonable, right? It's important to entertain ourselves and to splurge a little bit and to treat ourselves. And so I can actually plan that in. And so that day, my Thursdays look a little different, which is where this took a little bit more time for me, because I wanted to incorporate that eating out piece, and that changes everything. So on that day, okay, so I think I pretty much covered everything that I wanted to cover as far as ways to go about planning our meals. I did also want to just bring this back to, because it's Tuesday, we kind of talked about that. You know, we want to think about the timing for the rest of the week, make sure we have time to plan, shop, and prep, because it's also prep week. One thing to think about is cleaning out your pantry. And so that can be pretty important. I know when I first started, I went and got rid of anything in the house that was not clean eating. And so now, of course, my significant other occasionally has things that he wants to eat, and sometimes that gets me in trouble. But that's my fault. You know, and so sometimes when we have kids or significant others, that's a little more challenging. But clear out what you can, you know, that old bag of Twizzlers or M&Ms or whatever. That way it's not as easy to go and grab those things in a pinch, right? If all I have is healthy food, then I'm more likely to nourish myself with healthy food. And so, and I think I already mentioned the prizes as well. So to get the prize, what we're going to do is starting, so Monday the 6th is when we start this challenge group, March into Spring Fitness. And what we'll do is we'll announce it one more time. And so at the end of that first week, that'll give you a full week. And one of those days, take a picture of the recipe, or take a picture of your completed product, right? In my case, let's say zucchini lasagna. Get a picture of the finished product and then share the recipe. And there's different ways to share the recipe, and we'll share it with the group. And so if you do that once during the week, then your name would go into a hat, and whoever gets drawn out on Sunday night would get the prize. So on every Monday, we'll introduce what the prize is going to be, and we'll remind you what the challenge is, challenge within a challenge, and then there'll be a weekly prize option for that. So thank you for being with me here today. If you have any questions, feel free to message me or comment under this post. Give me a call, give me a text, and I'm sure Louise or I would be more than happy to answer any questions you have, share recipes, or anything you need. Okay, just a quick glance to make sure. Recipes, dessert soup too. Ooh, desserts. And you know, one more thing. It may be good on your first week to keep it simple, as far as no new recipes. Maybe just sticking to your go-tos. You know, and so for you that are in this prep week, this would be a good time to practice that. And so just because I know for me that kept it simpler. Anyhow, I just wanted to throw that in there. Everyone have a good night or a good day, and thanks. Bye. And maybe I can figure out how to do this. Sorry.